Well, the high guard, Dutch guard, whatever you want to call it. The number of people who have told me in Zoom sessions or private lessons that they cannot see hooks coming when they go to a high guard, it's crazy. So many people. And this should be a position, if you don't know what the high guard is, by the way, just up here, hands planted tight to the head, obviously not down in this position here, sort of Mike Tyson, hands at the chin, or going up. So when we get to this position, this should be one of the safest spots to go when you are overwhelmed. Or hopefully this isn't the case, but you just got rattled, right? You got clocked in the head. You're feeling like, whoa, okay, I don't have the ability to put in good footwork or to catch shots or to evade shots. I just need to survive for the next 5 seconds. So you put your hands up. Good idea. But not if you cannot see hooks coming from the side, because the shot that you do not see is the one that hurts you the most. So what can we do to adjust this high guard to make sure we can see everything, but not put our hands so wide that we eat shots up the middle? There's a number of things that I'm going to correct you on today. And guys, if you appreciate these videos, I get messages all the time. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for putting out all this digital content instruction. It's amazing. You go above and beyond. Just give the video a like for me. That's all I need from you. So the high guard. First thing, glove size is going to make a difference. I right now am in some 10-ounce Leone gloves. Fantastic, fantastic gloves, by the way. Over in Italy, they're made. So if I go to a 16-ounce glove for sparring, it's going to seem that much harder to see shots coming because the glove gets wider. If I go to a teeny tiny MMA glove and I try and do a high guard, I'm going to see a lot because the gloves aren't really going to impair my vision. So just keep in mind that glove size will affect you a little bit, but it doesn't mean that, oh, I put a pair of 16-ounce gloves on and all of a sudden my high guard is going to blind me. No, I'm just going to show you guys right away the main problem. Then we'll talk more in detail about so many other things that we can address. But the main problem for so many people when they go to a high guard, when I ask them in a Zoom session, can you grab your gloves? Can you come in front of the screen? Put your high guard up. Show me what we're dealing with. It's too low. It's way too low. And of course now, if I'm going right around eye level, whether it's slightly below or just slightly above, I'm going to feel blinded. You want to take those hands and you want to get them up to the forehead. And now from here, at least in my opinion, this position is so much easier to see down the middle because the bulk of the glove with the thumb and the outside of the fingers, the palm, that is the widest portion of the glove. And if we put that right down here, we're going to feel very blinded. But once we come up here and now we're looking through more at wrist level, I'm going to be able to see so much more. In addition, many people keep their head like this. They have their high guard up, but their head is up. What happens now if I just tuck my chin a little bit? Now all of a sudden, I can see through so much easier. So much easier. But there is no surefire way with this position to get hit 0 times. If I go too tight, they can wrap around behind my ear. If I go too wide, they can sink a shot up the middle. So it's up to you in the high guard to make these micro, and we are talking micro adjustments, not big adjustments, just me going, if I see a shot come down the middle, I just close up. Just a little bit, but I can still see completely up the middle and I can still see somebody winding up. There might be a point midway through the shot where if it's a really wide one, about here I start to lose the glove because my vision is kind of like this. I can see everything in between. So if they start coming really wide, I'm going to lose sight of the glove, but I'm going to see the whole entire wind up to here. I know what's coming. There's no need to be in a high guard and feel like you are visually compromised or blinded to hooks coming up the middle, or having to eat too many straight shots because your arms are so wide because you want to see everything. Not necessary. Crank those hands up just a little bit higher, and then from there, tuck your chin just a little bit more, and you should be able to see everything that you could possibly want to see from that position. Now, let's talk very quickly about the different portion of the glove that can be touching your head. I see many beginners taking the thumb, that portion right now that's facing towards you. They'll take the thumb and they'll put that right to the head for the high guard. Terrible position for a high guard. Awful. Because you can see the whole side of my head is open. So now if I go to block from the side, what am I supposed to do? I have to disconnect my hand from my head and then put it here. And once I start disconnecting in a high guard, I create that moment where there's an opening. And if the glove does even come and punch my own glove, my opponent's glove hits me, my own hand's gonna bounce. And it's not that shot that's gonna hurt me, but it's the fact that I get shifted, I'm gonna blink. Now the next shot I might not see. So having the thumbs to the head like so, no. Turn it in and use this portion of the glove, okay? You can do small things like, oh, okay, I adjust and I have the hand sort of in there touching, or I can come deeper, or I can wrap both hands around to the front so it's like this. Any of those are fine, but don't utilize the thumb portion of the glove because it's going to be disastrous for you. And then outside of that, a lot of times for the high guard for people, it's just going to be very simply building comfort in there. You're going to feel scared because yes, you are a bit of a punching bag in this position. People are working off you, but you need to make this more comfortable by again making those micro adjustments, but also by flexing your hand at the right point. What do I mean by that? Well, if somebody comes and hits me, they hit me right there. What I like to do to train a lot of times to check and see if they're doing it right is I'll hook my hand around theirs, just like this. I'm hooking it, and I'll try and pull it off. If I hit them and I can just rip that hand off their head, it tells me that this arm was far too loose. We don't want a loose arm upon impact. We want a stiff arm. And if somebody hits you and then tries to pull it away, it should be locked. Now that's again, not to say that I'm just standing here in this statue position being like, "Urgh." No, we don't want that. We want relaxed, loose, moving my arms around, but on impact, boom, I tighten. I squeeze that hand in my head for that split second, and then I can relax. If the shot comes up the middle, I close it, but again, right here for a split second, it's not gonna get pried away from my head. If you can add those elements to your high guard, and just remember the phrase high. It's not eye guard, not below the eye guard, it's a high guard. And anything down here means that when you want to adjust up to head level, right? If I'm like this, where are you gonna punch? I'm gonna punch to my forehead. My forehead is wide open. Of course you're gonna target that. So I go, okay, I wanna block it. I can't roll this across my eyes, take my eyelid with it. So I'm gonna disconnect and lift up. Again, once you disconnect in a high guard or any tight guard, there's gonna be that space, then you get punched, the glove bounces off, and then you're very, very vulnerable for any follow-up shots. Getting this down is so important. And I can't stress that enough. We have seen the highest level fighters in the world, 1FC fighters, UFC fighters, so many people who have championship belts, and they have this great head movement, or they have these hands out here. But once they get tagged and their back gets to the cage, and now they don't have the ability to stand here and survive for 5 or 6 seconds, that's when they get laid out. Best fighters in the world can still make this mistake. The fighters who are able to shell up, survive, we've even seen Mayweather do it. Floyd Mayweather, probably the best defensive fighter that I can think of in boxing in a long time when he was in his prime, and he'd be slipping, dodging, boom, boom, boom. But when he got overwhelmed, he would put his back to the ring ropes and he'd just put his hands up. And he would survive there until he could get space. Get this down. Make it a part of your defensive game, because defense is so darn important, and being able to survive when you're overwhelmed or rocked is, I'm not gonna say life or death, but basically, yeah, in the ring, it's your win versus your loss. Survival. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining today. I will see you back here soon for another video.